In this video, we're going to talk about the inequalities in a triangle. If we're going to talk about inequalities, we first need to define what an inequality is. An inequality, the definition of inequality says that for any real numbers a and b, a is greater than b if and only if there's a positive number c such that a is equal to b plus c. Or in other words, that a is bigger than the number b, whatever that number is, or the number, whatever the number of c is. So um, a, a right here is bigger than either one of those two, b or c. Some properties of inequalities for real numbers. We have the comparison property of inequality. It just saying that you can compare two numbers. So the numbers one number is either smaller than the other number, one number is equal to the other number, or one number is greater than the other number. That's the comparison property. The transitive property says that if A is less than B and B is less than C, then A is less than C. And the same thing is also true for greater than. If A is greater than B and B is greater than C, then A is greater than C. The addition property of inequality just simply says that you can add the same number to both sides of the inequality and the inequality stays true. And same thing with the subtraction property of inequality, saying that you can subtract the same number from both sides of the inequality and the inequality remains true. Pause the video and copy this definition and these properties into your notes. All right, so the next we're going to look at a couple of theorems, okay? The exterior angle theorem says that measure of an exterior angle of a triangle is greater than the measure of either of the corresponding remote interior angles. We've learned in the past that the exterior angle is equal to the sum of the two remote interior angles. Well, this goes back to the definition of inequality that we talked about right here on this first slide, that the exterior angle is going to be bigger than the measure of angle 1 is bigger than the measure of angle A, and the measure of angle 1 is bigger than the measure of angle B. All right, and we're going to do some work with that as far as identifying which angles are bigger in a triangle. Okay, the other theorems that we're going to talk about are the angle-side relationships in triangles. Theorem 5.9 says if one side of a triangle is longer than the other side, then the angle that's opposite the longer side has a greater measure than the angle opposite the shorter side. Okay, so if we're talking about angle XY here has a length of 9, that means that angle Z is bigger than the angle that's opposite YZ, which is X, okay, because YZ is smaller. And then the converse of that is also true, and that's what 5.10 says, that if one angle has a greater measure than the other angle, then the side that's opposite that angle is the longer side. So here, angle J is 110 degrees. That means the side opposite of that KL is bigger than the side that's opposite JK, which is JL. All right, pause the video and copy these theorems into your notes. All right, here it says to use the exterior angle inequality theorem to list all the angles that meet these criteria down here. Okay, Okay, so the first thing that it says list all the angles that are greater than angle 2. Well, angle 2 is right here. So we know that the angle 2 is right there. So we know that this angle 4 here is bigger, okay, because that's the exterior angle, okay. Angle 4 is bigger. So if we're talking about this triangle right here, the small triangle, that's 4 is the exterior angle there. If we're talking about the big angle, 9 is an exterior angle, and 2, so 9 is bigger than the combination of 2 and 7. So that means that 9 is bigger than 2. And the other thing that 9 is also bigger than 7. But and then we know that 4 and 6 are vertical angles that have the same measure. So what that says is that if 4 is bigger than angle 2, that means 6 is also bigger than angle 2. All right? All right. So see if I can get my. All right. It says list all the angles that are less. So if I let me erase this. Okay. It says list all the angles that are less than angle 4. Well, all right. So this is sort of the opposite of what the first one. So angle 4 is right here. Okay, that's an exterior angle. All right. And so we're going to look at the all the remote interior angles. Okay, so 4 is there are two remote interior. This 4 is just simply the exterior angle for the small one here. So that would be angle 2 and angle 1. Okay, because these are your two remote interior angles. All right, um, and that would be all the ones that those are. Okay, list all the angles that are greater than angle 7. Okay, well, if we look at this, angle 7 is right here, so that's related to like angle 2. Okay, so angle 7 here, so 9. Okay, 9 is bigger. Okay, um, and we know that. Um, let's see here. Are there any others that are bigger? Well, um, we know that, yeah, we know that 9 is bigger than is the exterior angle um, for the this triangle as well as for this triangle. Okay, so let's see here. If we look at the exterior angle for going this way, 7 is the exterior angle for 5. Okay, so or not the exterior, but the remote interior angle for exterior angle 5. Okay, if you, because remember the exterior angle is if you extend the side out, so that would be 5, not necessarily 4. All right, and last but not least, all the exterior angles less than angle 9. All right, less than angle 9. 9 is here. Okay, that's an exterior angle. So we know we've already identified that 2 and 7 are less than 9, and angle 1 is also less than 9. Okay, because this is a remote interior um, angle. Okay. All right. So this goes on to talk about those theorems we talked about. List the angles in order from smallest to largest. Well, so remember that the angles are related to the sides. Okay, so the smallest side is this one. Smallest side is that one. We want to go from small to large. Okay, so the angle that's opposite that is angle A. So angle A is the smallest one. The next one is 2.8, which is the side opposite that is C. And the longest side then is angle the longest side is the 3.1. So that means that the biggest angle is angle B. Okay? And the last um, example that we're going to do is dealing with the sides as they relate to the angles. Well, we're only given two angles, so we're going to have to add to find out what this angle is. Okay, so 46, 87. Okay, so 6 and 7 is 13. Carry the 1. 12, 13, 133. And so then we take 180 minus 133, subtract them. So that's a 7 and a 4. So this angle over here is 47. All right. It's important to notice that because we have to know if this is bigger or smaller than any of the other angles, and we see that indeed it is larger than angle J. Okay, so the smallest one is angle J. The side that's opposite angle J is line LK. Okay, line LK. And then the next one is 47. So the side that's opposite that is JL or LJ. Okay. And then our largest side is opposite the largest angle, which is JK. Okay? All right. So make sure you've got all the notes copied down. And if you have any questions, make sure you ask them. And we'll talk to y'all later on.